think with the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way back the baby to sleep.
Until morning. Ewing.
Oh, wow. Oh.
He's going to try to get one more shot off the air. Push the buzzer.
How about that?
Steps over to Ron Lewis. He thought about three. He'll put up a three.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Boom Broadcasting presents Three from Deep. I'm your host, Jason Calenzo. Welcome to the show. Happy Monday, y'all. Thank you for joining me here today. We are back. I had a little hiatus last week. I was on location there at Camp Calenzo, but we are back home now, back on Three from Deep here. Guys, I appreciate you being here. If you get a second, please hit that like and subscribe button here. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. Go check out some of the older episodes. You can check out anything you want on demand on the Boom Broadcasting Network, not just Three from Deep, but we got tons of great shows you guys got to check out here. We are on fire, and it's about to get lit even more. We got a lot more sports coming up. I know right now, NBA, we have now finally hit the offseason, and we got a lot going on in the offseason here in the NBA. We'll talk about that here in a second here. We want to touch base with you guys on everything. I did Three from Deep 3 times a week during the season, but during the off season, I'm going to do it one time a week, or jump in and do some reels and stuff. So anytime some big exciting news hits, I'm going to try to be there for you here, but we're going to go down to one time a week. You know, in the off season, I got some other shows in development, so please be mindful and be ready for those. We're about a month or so out on that, because I'm having fun doing this podcast and things. So we got some other great stuff that is going to be hitting for y'all. So check it out here. Any questions, comments, concerns, please don't be afraid to hit me up. But what are we going to get into today? Of course, we just had the NBA draft last week. A lot of teams, a lot of young guys' hopes and dreams coming to fruition. A lot of teams just hustling for the offseason. Of course, you know, the Oklahoma City Thunder take the championship for last year. Now that was last year. Now what? Do they repeat? You know, these other teams that were just so close, what do they do to get back into the mix here? But we're going to get into some top stories here. We're going to get up onto my top 5. I'm bringing my top 5 back. I haven't done it in a while. So we're going to bring my top 5 here. I'm going to give you my super mega early top 5 teams to make and win the championship next year. So it's never too early to start looking and prognosticating for next year. So we're going to jump in and do that. And then we're going to get up into the layup line. We got a lot of great little stories and some big stories to talk about here on Three from Deep. So we'll go ahead and jump in and do that. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Like and subscribe. Jump in here. Sit back, relax. You got me for the next 30-ish minutes. We'll see how long I go and start going off in a tangent. Sometimes I start talking and then I just go off into left field because there's certain things that I'll talk about, and then there's a lot of other things that I just start rambling on. So if you hear me rambling, don't be afraid to yell at me here. So, but let's jump right in to last week's NBA draft. Of course, first things first, that number 1 pick, Captain Obvious, everybody kind of knew it was going to be Cooper Flagg, the next big guy, the next big thing. He was touted 2 years ago during, I guess it's 2 years now, during the Olympics when he played with and against the Olympic team. Guys were just going crazy about Cooper Flagg and his athleticism. And then just, you know, playing in Duke, he had a great year at Duke, averaging a little over 19 points a game with the Dukies. And then, of course, you know, first pick in the NBA draft, the Mavs pulling the golden horseshoe out of their wazoo after the whole Luka fiasco. So the curse of the Mavericks kind of stopped right there. They got that first pick in the draft. Cooper Flagg lays in your lap. Nico, you have some kind of horseshoe, good luck, something, NBA conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. They got lucky. Well, luck with Cooper Flagg falling into your lap is pretty good. So let's talk about those Mavs real quick here. Now you got Cooper Flagg. Kyrie Irving signs his 3-year deal. I don't know how early he's going to be back. I haven't heard any preliminary reports yet. I know he's probably going to miss the first, part of the season, but I'm sure he'll jump right in there when he's ready. Then you have Klay Thompson, of course, the one of the greatest shooters ever, playing on that Mavs team. Anthony Davis. Can Anthony Davis stay healthy? That's the big question for the Mavs next year. Can AD play? When he's on and he's on the court, he is great. He's one of the top 10 basketball players on the planet when he's healthy and he's on. It's just his availability, slight question, but and then you throw Derek Lively the second in there. You also have PJ Washington, Naj Marshall, Daniel Gafford, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Do we have something going on here in Dallas? Everybody was beating them up with the Luka trade. Now you throw Cooper Flagg, one of the top prospects, in the past 5 years plus. You throw him in that mix, so you get a healthy Kyrie back. You get a healthy AD. You got Cooper Flagg, Derek Lively, and Klay Thompson. Does this put them in the mix in the West? We know how hard the West is, and there's a lot of teams reloading in the West. OKC doesn't have to do much reloading. They are already stacked, so whoever they add, it's going to be pretty good for them. But, guys, if you don't get a chance, you got to check out the article my man wrote about Cooper Flagg. My man Michael Davis, the Boom Broadcasting president on the Fans First Sports Network, wrote a great article about Cooper Flagg. Man, I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see. I want to see how Cooper Flagg transitions over to the NBA. How does his game transition over? Is the game going to be too fast for him? Again, there's a lot of NBA players that said that this guy is the real deal, that this kid is the real deal when they saw him playing against those Olympians. And they saw him play last year with Duke. They said, no doubt about it, this guy's got it. I'll be curious to see what happens, but I want to see this full complement, this full team play, and let's see what they got. Can they be the team that comes out of the West with the way this lineup is constructed? I think so. AD has the experience. He has a chip. Kyrie Irving, experience, chip. You got 2 surefire Hall of Famers, actually 3. So you got to put Klay Thompson in there too, even though I know Klay is not the guy he used to be when he was on Golden State, but still dangerous from outside the 3-point arc. So Kyrie, Klay, and AD, you got 3 surefire Hall of Famers on that team. You throw Derek Lively in the mix, you got some other complementary players, and then you put Cooper Flagg in there, the number 1 draft pick that everybody is excited about. This Dallas Mavericks team has a chance to be dangerous. The biggest thing I like to hear is Cooper Flagg and his defense. To me, you saw that in the playoffs this year. You not only had to score, but you had to make some plays on defense. There is too many teams out there that are so offensive centric. They don't focus anything on defense. And then when their offense is not clicking, they have nothing to save them. You got to have defense to save you when your offense is having one of those off nights and one of those bad shooting nights. So Cooper Flagg, number one, going to that Mavericks team. I want to see these guys together. I think this is going to be good for the Mavericks. They need this. That poor Dallas Mavericks fan base was so demoralized after losing Luka. But then to win that first round, that first pick in the draft, kind of picked the spirits up a little bit. But I think once you get all those guys on the court at one time healthy, that's when we're going to see if this team can make some noise in the NBA next year. I think they can. I know they can. But the biggest question is health. Can all those guys be healthy? Because I don't see Cooper Flagg carrying a team. He's too young for that yet. But he can be a heck of a complementary player to 3 surefire Hall of Famers. So, man, that's going to be exciting to see. Then let's drop down to that second pick, which I think was a great pick for number 2, Mr. Dylan Harper, coming out of Rutgers. Man, the San Antonio Spurs, right now on paper, they got a young squad, but man, do they have a dangerous squad for next year. Stephon Castle, rookie of the year last year, averaged a little over 14 points, over 4 assists a game, rookie of the year. De'Aaron Fox, I know he got hurt last year, but hopefully he comes back healthy. Harrison Barnes, Victor Wembanyama, the Parisian Pillar. Guys, I'm trying to really get him a good nickname because Wemby is just boring. That's just, you're mailing it in with a nickname. Let's give him something that just really stands for who he is and what he is, the Parisian Pillar. So, and then you sprinkle Dylan Harper in there, one of the top players in this draft, number 2. I think San Antonio just landed their 3rd rookie of the year in a row. First, it was Victor Wembanyama, rookie of the year. Stephon Castle. I see Dylan Harper on that team with everybody healthy. The next rookie of the year. Spurs, I think you get all 3. I think you have the next rookie of the year on your squad. And this team is going to be dangerous in the West. They're going to be young. There's going to be some growing pains that first half of the year, depending when they all get on the court and they all play together. And you had Chris Paul there last year. I think he's going to be here this year because I'd love to see Harper learn from Paul. Harper, his dad, Ron Harper, was in the NBA, so he kind of already knows the ins and outs of the NBA. He's not going to be green to that. His brother plays in Detroit. So again, not going to be green to how the NBA works and the infrastructure and a lot of the crap that we don't see behind the scenes. I think he's going to be able to master that and get through it pretty easily. But man, watch out in the West. If Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox are healthy, now you put Dylan Harper on there with Stephon Castle, another year under his belt. I think the Spurs are going to make some noise next year. Knock on wood again, barring health, with the way this team is constructed and the way that Spurs organization, the way they just take players and get the best out of them, the way they develop their talent and the way they work to draft and develop their players is second to none. You know, look at like a Tony Parker, look at Amano Ginobili, look at what they did with Tim Duncan. They just did so much with those guys and turned them into Hall of Fame players and champions. I think that this Spurs organization can do that with this. I know it's going to be tough not having Popovich as the head coach next year. I was sad to see Pop step down. I know he's still battling back from his stroke that he had. I know he's going to be kind of with the team in certain aspects. But it's going to be interesting to see how they move forward without Greg Popovich at the helm. We're so used to seeing Pop, and he has done some magnificent things. I think he's probably one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach in NBA history. I know Phil Jackson is up there, and Red Auerbach. You got to throw those guys in there. But man, Pop was up there. But man, Dylan Harper on the Spurs, I think he wins Rookie of the Year this coming up year. I think the Spurs make noise in the West, make the playoffs, and make some noise in the playoffs. Period. San Antonio, watch out for them. They're going to be a handful this year. And then let's jump into the drama that is Aces High, Ace Bailey, everything that was going around and talking about this kid. And you kind of, as I take a step back, because of course, when you put yourself now into the limelight and you want to become a professional, and now you're in the draft and you're going to go to the NBA, everything you do becomes scrutinized. These are kids, guys. These are kids with adults chirping in their ear. I don't understand why we're beating this kid up. Look, the whole, not working out for teams and canceling the workout. I think he canceled the workout for the 76ers. He was kind of trying to dictate where he wanted to go. He was telling certain teams, please don't draft me. I want to go here, here, and here. Is that really coming from him? Or is someone just giving him bad advice in how to act during this process? And we saw this. We saw this in the NFL with Mr. Sanders. Shedeur Sanders dropped like a stone in the NFL draft. And a lot of people are saying a lot had to do with his process, his people chirping in his ear, his demands, a lot of the way he presented himself that really hurt his draft stock. And you kind of saw that a little bit with Ace Bailey. Didn't hurt him as much. Did not drop very far. He ended up going to the Jazz. The Jazz saw his potential and chose him anyways. But what are you guys doing blasting a kid who really doesn't know what he's doing? He's got people in his ear. He's got his handlers. All these kids do. I think a little bit of that mixed with this nil money and the money these kids are making during college now, I think is kind of, they got them smelling themselves a little too much. They watch guys like Kevin Durant and some of these other players that kind of dictate where they want to go. James Harden, Paul. I keep wanting to say Paul Pierce, but it's not Paul Pierce. Playoff P. Paul George. Couldn't get that name out there. Kind of wanted to dictate where they're going to play. But these guys have been in the NBA for a while. They've kind of earned their stripes to be able to say, hey, I want to go here. Or, hey, I want to finish my career here. Some of these young cats coming out of college really just starting to make demands. That's too much. That's too much to come in. Be thankful you're drafted. Look how many guys were crying Wednesday and Thursday night because they were drafted by an NBA team that they had nothing, came from nothing, and all of a sudden their dream came true. So to hear this stuff coming out of Ace Bailey's camp, and to hear some of the stuff that they're saying, on ESPN and everything else, really blasting this kid for his process. Guys, I really don't blame it on him, because how can you blame something on an 18, 19-year-old kid who really has no idea what is going on? He only hears what he's hearing and sees what some of these other NBA players are doing and some of these other sports figures are doing. Again, like a Shedeur Sanders, And Eli Manning, who, him and his father dictated where he wanted to play, told the Chargers, hey, I'm not playing for you. You can pick me, but you better trade me. And they ended up trading him to the Giants because that's where kind of Eli wanted to go, which I'm thankful he did because he got us a couple rings. But you see this now and you wonder what these kids are thinking, what they're feeling, because they are kids. Are they being taught? Or if you want to be a professional, they need to have a class for that, for these kids, for these guys in high school, junior high school, college, and start mentoring them along the way about listening to the right people, about organizing your finances, about the way you become a professional. If this is what you want to be, see, we have classes for everything out there. If you want to be a doctor, lawyer, nurse, etc., we have all these classes that prepare you for your profession. If your profession is you want to be in sports and you want to have that, and you start in middle school and junior high and high school, well, they need to have some classes for these guys so they can actually learn about the ins and outs of these sports, some of the pitfalls, some of the things that you need to worry about and think about, and making the right decisions. So, Ace Bailey, I hope you do great in Utah. Look, Utah has an amazing basketball history. Yes, over the last few years, they have been trash. Ever since Donovan Mitchell left, ever since Rudy Gobert left, they have been nothing. They are not the Stockton Malone Jazz that we know. This is a completely different animal. This is a completely different team, organization that we know of. But it's not a bad organization. This is not one of those organizations that we really kind of scratch our heads. You look at a Washington Wizards, or even a 76ers, like, what are you guys doing? A Charlotte Hornets, like, you guys have just never gotten over the hump at all. Utah is actually not a bad place to play. If you go to Utah and you show your talent and you take that organization to places it hasn't been in the last 5 years plus, that will make a name for yourself. Now you can start dictating, hey, I want a bigger contract. Hey, I want to go somewhere when my rookie contract is over. You can start doing some things like that because you've earned the respect. You've earned your way into the NBA. When you haven't played one quarter of NBA basketball, it is hard to sit here and go, I'm not going there. I want to go somewhere else. That just, to me, is ridiculous. But again, is this really coming from him, or is this from his handlers? So, guys, let's stop beating kids up. ESPN, let's stop beating kids up. These guys don't know what they're doing because they've never been there before. And when you sit here and talk about them, again, we don't do that when we're at a high school game, because you will get roasted in the stands. I've been there. I've seen people boo other kids in the stands, and then you get creamed. So we got to stop doing that. I know this is something, you guys are paid to do. I know this is something as a professional you got to kind of live with and learn to live with, but that's a lot. That's heavy, and that's a lot for a young cat to sit here and listen to all the negative crap flying around about him. So, Ace Bailey, I hope you do your thing, man. Go to Utah, do your thing, make a name for yourself, shut all these other guys up, but make sure you have the right people around you, because to me, it sounds like you've gotten a lot of bad advice from a lot of people in your inner circle. So you may want to change that up. So let's jump in here to kind of one of the surprises I want to throw in there in this draft, because I got a lot of Heat fans out there. So I like to talk about the Heat a little bit here. My man, Michael Davis from the Boom Broadcasting Network, is a huge Heat fan. So shout out Prez. Kasparis Jakucionis from Illinois/Lithuania. Is this the biggest steal in the draft? Fell to the Heat. combo guard, really good passer. They're hoping that his scoring will come around because I think they're going to develop him really into being a scorer. But you're going to pair him now with Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Javier Jaquez Jr. You just signed Davion Mitchell. You got Duncan Robinson. So this a steal for the Miami Heat? You get somebody that has been playing overseas, that has kind of that overseas experience now. He played young. He was young when he was overseas, like 15 years old, and he's over here playing with some of the professionals over in Lithuania. So really getting his chops over there, and then come over here playing a year in Illinois, and then falls to the Miami Heat. I think the Heat got a steal of the draft. And again, guys, go check out Fans First Sports Network. My man Michael Davis talks about this. Can the Heat make noise in the East with this team that they have constructed right now? It's going to be tough. I think they're going to have a battle of Florida because right now, look what Orlando did. Orlando picking up Desmond Bane from the Grizz to pair with that squad. Oof. You talk about you got Franz Wagner now, Paulo Blancharo. Now you're going to put Desmond Bane on that team. Is that a big three in Orlando? We may have a battle of Florida here in the East between that, and now you got Hero, Bam, and Jakucionis. That's going to be interesting to see, but really, really big things I think are going to come from this kid here. I'm not saying this is a Luka situation, but I can see this kid really developing into something special for the Miami Heat because they needed it. They didn't get, they didn't land KD. We still don't know what the heck is going on with Giannis. We still haven't really heard anything about that. There has been no movement or no noise from the Bucks about that. So I don't see that happening. But is that enough to put the Heat in the conversation in the East? Because you got to think the Cavs, they may start slipping, didn't really live up to expectations in the playoffs with a 60-win team. Boston just unloading everybody. Just next year is going to be a throwaway year because you have no Jason Tatum with his torn Achilles. They just got rid of Jrue Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis. They're talking about trading Jaylen Brown and get rid of him and get rid of that big old contract. So I think Boston's going to be out of the mix here too. So you're going to have a lot of East teams. New York Knicks. I love my Knicks, but we have no coach right now. We still got a good team. Ball bounces one way or the other. We're in the finals, not Indiana, but we have no coach. I think we're just going out there and start running around. So Miami, Orlando, those two Florida teams, they have a lot of room to start making some noise in the East there. Florida Panthers just won back-to-back Stanley Cups. So come on, Florida. Come on, Heat. Where you at? It'll be interesting to see. And then let's talk. We're going to segue here. I got to put my old man pants on here for a second because we need to talk about number 23 playing in number 23. Yes, Mr. LeBron James will be back this coming up year for his historic 23rd year in the NBA. Nobody else has ever done that. 23 years in the NBA. Congratulations, LeBron James. Making history again. He's exercising his option next year, his player option. $52.6 million. This is not he believes, he knows the future, and the Lakers want to build around Luka. And this is kind of his swan song. He's going to be here next year. I don't know how many more years. I really believe next year is going to be LeBron James's last year playing basketball. I really do see that. I think he has more philanthropic things he wants to do, and he's already set himself up for his life after basketball. But question I have is, Does he really believe that the Lakers have a roster that can contend for a championship next year? And that's why he signed on. Or essentially, is this a cash grab? You're gonna let $52 million just kind of float around out there. I know LeBron James is worth $1 billion, so $52 million is pocket change for him, but it's still a lot of money, and he still loves to play the game of basketball. He'll be 41 in December, so he's still young, even though he's played 23 years in the league. You guys got to remember, he came into the league at 18 years old. So he was pretty young when he came into this league. He averaged 24.4 points last year, 7.8 rebounds, 8.2 assists. So look, a 40-year-old player with 22 years under his belt, averaging 24.4 points a game is phenomenal. Look, LeBron James is one of the greatest basketball players to ever get on the court. Playing 23 years now in the league says something about his commitment to his physical self, and what he does to stay in shape. And this is just 23 years in the league. This is not including off the court basketball. This is not including the USA squad, playing the Olympics, playing in some of the world championships. So LeBron James has played a lot of basketball over his career. So if anybody deserves to kind of just say, guys, I'm done, I'm walking away with no regrets, it is him, because he has given this game over the past 23 years blood, sweat, and tears. So congratulations to LeBron James for making it this long, man. That's unbelievable. I remember his rookie year. He's still playing. That's how old I feel. 22, 23 years ago. Whew. And he's only 49 games away from breaking Robert Parrish's games record at 1,611 regular season games, which I see LeBron James doing that next year, no problem. Knock on wood. As long as he doesn't get hurt, get some kind of weird injury. So 49 games, LeBron James can add another record to his already record-setting seasons. He is one of the greats. He will always be one of the greats. To go or not to go. And I guess, once he finishes career, we can talk about the GOAT conversation. I have a lot of fun with my guys from Boom Broadcasting, especially my man Carson. I love you, dude. With Hoops and Helmets, he does his show with Aaron, and he is a huge LeBron James fan and considers him the GOAT, which, it's hard to dispute that. Look, the guy has umpteen records. He has a scoring record. He's probably going to have the games played record. He's got the championships. He's got the longevity. He's got everything you need. I grew up in a different era. I still think Michael Jeffrey Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. But those are those conversations, and we love having those conversations. I poke a lot of fun at Carson, but it's all in good, man. It's all in good fun. Look, LeBron James is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. It is hard to put it past him what he's done to have this kind of career and be that kind of player over 23 years is amazing. Is absolutely amazing. So he has had a stellar career. But I really want to know. I mean, does he really believe this Lakers team? I mean, let's take a look at that Lakers roster. You talk about Trey Jameson III, Christian Coloco, Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, Austin Reeves, Markieff Morris, Shake Milton, Alex Len, Maxi Keebler, Dalton Connect, Bronny James, Jackson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, Luka Doncic, Dorian Finley-Smith, who I know they got some things going on with him, and Jordan Goodwin. So I don't know. Does that team really have enough to make some noise in the West? I really don't think so. Look, LeBron James, I know you kind of have to believe in your squad. You have Luka Doncic on there, one of the top 5 basketball players in the world right now, on your squad. So with you and him together, I think you guys can drag just about anybody with you. But I think Connect really has to do some leaps this year if you really want to make some noise in that really difficult West. Rui Hachimura is going to have to do some things for you. You're going to have to do some kind of offseason moves along with um, trying to make this team better, because I don't see them being a top 5 team in the West, even with LeBron James and Luka Doncic. I'm sorry. Call me wrong, guys. Let me know what you think. Comment, let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think the Los Angeles Lakers are a top 5 team in the West? With a lot of teams getting better in the West, I just don't see it. I can't see it. I appreciate LeBron James's positivity going into this, possibly his final season. Really hasn't announced, this is his swan song yet. But I can't see the Lakers doing it. I think they need more. They need to build around Luka, and then that's the reason I think I'm most surprised about him picking up that player option is he didn't kind of try to give the Lakers a hometown discount, and renegotiate, refigure the contract to maybe get a little less money, so you can go out there and spend some money in free agency, or spend some money and do a trade here or there with somebody. So I'm a little surprised. I don't blame him for picking up the option. Again, who's going to leave $52.6 million on the table? But again, I think that Lakers team needs to do more around LeBron and around Luka to make noise in the West, because they are not going to be able to do it the way this team is constructed right now. I do not see them as a top 5 team in the West. I think they're going to have a really, really hard time with all these other teams bowling up. So, but still, congratulations, LeBron James, number 23 for number 23. Great job, man. Awesome. So, quick timeout. Again, thank you guys for being here. I'm going to give you my top 5 teams to contend for the championship next year. So here are my top 5. Number 1, I got the returning champs, Oklahoma City Thunder. They got their full complement coming back. They just signed one of their boys, and I'll talk about that in a second, coming back. But SGA, MVP last year, Finals MVP, Conference Finals MVP. So he's got something more to prove. I mean, he does not want this year to be a one-hit wonder, and we don't want to see that either. I want to see SGA take the leap into becoming that next big superstar, because he's right there. He is right there. He is about to crack the top 5 in the best basketball players in the world, but we need to see more. This is his best year. Can he rerun that? But I have Oklahoma City as my number 1 team to repeat as champions. My number 2 team, the Houston Rockets. Whew, that addition with KD is going to vault the Houston Rockets. Look, they were second in the West last year, fizzled out a little bit in the playoffs. I think a lot of that had to do with youth and experience. But Ime Udoka coming back as their coach, they are going to be a force in the West with Kevin Durant and with that team. Amen Thompson, Alfred Sengun, Fred VanVleet. I really think I would put Houston number 1 if it wasn't for Oklahoma City coming back with a full complement of players. But man, Houston Rockets, you're going to be right there. So Oklahoma City 1, Houston number 2. I'm going to put my New York Knicks number 3. I got to bring an East team in here. I'm tired of talking about the West. I got to bring my boys back in. Look, the New York Knicks were so close, 50-win plus team last year. They were a ball bounce away from getting to the NBA Finals. They just ran into a Pacers team that just was on fire and outpaced them. They were shooting the lights out of everybody. But New York, you're right there. The only thing missing right now, a head coach. A lot of trade rumors, a lot of stuff going around. Do they keep Karl Anthony Towns? Who else are they going to pair with? Jalen Brunson, the Brunson burner, my MVP from last year. But New York, as constructed right now, all things said, I think they're going to be number one in the East. The New York Knicks, they get a good head coach. They will be number one in the East next year. Cleveland falls off. Boston is done. Orlando's going to bubble up. The Heat are going to bubble up. Milwaukee's falling back, depending what they do. But I see the New York Knicks number one in the East next year, coming out of the East, and they're my number 3 for reaching the title next year. Number 4, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think getting smacked around in the playoffs this year did something to Ant Edwards. I think now he knows what he's got to do. Look, they just signed Julius Randle. They just signed Naz Reid, running it back. Ant Edwards, Minnesota Timberwolves, watch out for them next year. They are coming back, and they're coming back for revenge. I have them as my number 4 team. And my number 5, if they are all healthy and they are playing, I got the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg, Kyrie Irving, Klay, AD. I think they have enough pieces right now, if they are all healthy, to make it to the championship. Dallas Mavericks, my number 5 to make it to the championship. And I'm going to give an honorable mention. I talked about them earlier. Watch out for those San Antonio Spurs. Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox. You just sprinkled a little Harper in there now. Probably going to be one of the best rookies to ever come out of this draft class. I think he is going to be the rookie of the year this year for the Spurs. I think the Spurs take 3 rookie of the years in a row. But honorable mention, the Spurs. So, guys, let me know who you got. Who are your top 5 to make it and win the NBA championship next year? Oklahoma City, number 1. Rockets, number 2. New York, number 3. Timberwolves, number 4. Mavericks, number 5. Honorable mention, the San Antonio Spurs. Let's go time in. Let's jump back in here. Let's get into the layup line. I love doing my layup line here. Just little stories. And this is going to be what it is this whole offseason. Again, guys, going down to 1 show a week. Probably going to stick to Mondays at 12. But, barring any mega stories, I'll jump in. I may do an extra show here and there. Or, of course, the reels are real popular right now. So we may jump in there and do a reel here. You got to check mine out. You got to check out what we do here on the Boom Broadcasting Network. We love just anytime we can bring you even a snippet, even if it's a minute of something that we saw or something that's going on, we're going to do it. So please set your alerts. So this way, when we drop a reel or we drop an episode, it's going to pop right up to you and you're going to be able to see it because most of the time, 99.99% of the time, we are on it right as that news is breaking and we're going to bring it to you here. So Boom Broadcasting Network, don't mess around. Like, subscribe, set your alerts. But layup line. Thunder, we talked about it just a second ago. They lock up Jalen Williams to a multi-year extension, up to $24 million. This is just the start for Oklahoma City because they're now in the works. They got their big 3, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and SGA. All those guys are going to be coming up on their contract extension. So Oklahoma City is going to be busy. And that team has a ton of draft capital. So I don't think they are done making moves this offseason to reload for next year. So watch out for the Thunder this offseason, making some more moves. But signing him, that's just another piece that they're of their championship team that they're locking in for some more years. So we'll see what the actual deal is. I haven't seen that yet here because, again, July 1st is when the new season rolls over. So number 2, let's jump in here, jump on that layup line here. Bulls trade Lonzo Ball to the Cavaliers for Isaac Orko. I can't even say his name, Orko. Ball played 35 games last year, really hasn't played a full season. Lonzo and the Ball brothers are just crazy talented, but always falling short with the injuries. It's tough. I hate seeing that. I want to see what these guys can really develop into, and I want to see who Lonzo Ball can really be. So I'm hoping he stays healthy because Cleveland Cavaliers, they need somebody. Ty Jerome heading to free agency. He's an unrestricted free agent. And Darius Garland just had successful surgery on his big toe, and he's going to be out probably for the first part of the season. So they really need Lonzo Ball to help them kind of keep the ball rolling in Cleveland. So we'll see what he can do. But that was an interesting trade there. And then let's talk about James the Beard Harden. It looks like he is going to re-sign. He kind of declined his player option, but is re-signing with the Los Angeles Clippers, a 2-year deal, $81.5 million. That's a lot of money. Guys, go play in the NBA. And the NFL is great, but good Lord, man, the NBA is making bank over there. So 2 years, $81.5 million. Look, he averaged 22.8 points a game last year, 8.7 assists, 5.8 rebounds. So he had a beard season. And what more impressed me is he actually played really, really well and did not disappear in the playoffs. They did fall a little short with him and Kawhi Leonard. I think they are missing a few pieces on that Clippers team. But the beard staying in LA. So that'll be interesting to see if they can make some other moves in the offseason to build themselves back up in the West and kind of be in contention again. So let's see where we're going there. And then I also want to talk about Julius Randle. We got a couple of signings for those Timberwolves. I talked about that a little just a couple seconds ago here. But Julius Randle, 3-year, $100 million deal. My man goes from New York, gets traded. He was the shining light for the Wolves against Oklahoma City, even though they got blitzed out of the building by the Thunder. Man, Julius Randle came to ball. He had some great games there for the Wolves. So signing him, he's got a 27-28 player option on there too. Again, the Wolves just signed Naz Reid to a 5-year, $125 million deal. So they got him and Randle back, Reid and Randle back with them, and Edwards. I think they're going to make noise. That's why I had them so high in my making it to the championship and winning the championship next year, because I think they have something to prove. I think Ant Edwards has something he wants to prove this year. So we're going to see what goes on with that. The last thing I want to talk about here, I hate talking about these kind of things, but Malik Beasley, the Pistons guard, is under federal investigation with allegations of gambling and prop bets. Now, this is not the first time we've had some reports about player issues. Terry Rozier for the Heat, I think he's still under investigation. Jonte Porter was banned. Raptors player was banned last year for life for gambling and prop bets. Look, this is a big deal. I hope these are just isolated incidents and more stuff doesn't come out in the wash with this. But that scares me a little bit. Look, sports in general and gambling has become okay and marketed over the last 3 to 5 years, where a lot of states are making sports betting legal. You're seeing ESPN is doing their own betting website. You're seeing all these betting websites. You're seeing all these betting apps. It has become the norm. You go to stadiums and there's bet. There's stuff all over the place. That never used to be like that. That used to be kind of hush done in dark alleys somewhere with guys and running numbers and all this other stuff. But now it has become Mickey Mouse stuff where betting is just okay and gambling is okay. And it's now part of the norm. So I'm hoping that this player stuff again is isolated incidents with one or two players, that more stuff is not going to come out of the wash, because there was a lot of this going on in college basketball. I think with no money and some of the other things going on now, that you're seeing that dissipate a little bit, because kids don't really need the money. The ones that are good are making some money now. But man, I don't like hearing these kind of things, because that's bad for the sport. It's bad for basketball when you see guys either tanking games or building up, and then numbers and their rebounds. Oh, I'm slated to only get 2 rebounds, but I'm going to go out there and get 6 and bet on myself. And there is just too much craziness going on, and that to me is not cool. I hope this is an isolated incident. I hope he doesn't. It comes out that's negative. I guess this happened when he was 23, 24 with the Milwaukee Bucks, is when they're investigating that this kind of happened. So I'm hoping that this doesn't come to anything and he's innocent, because again, innocent until proven guilty. But anytime you're being federally investigated, it's not a good look. And I don't know. I really hope some of these. I really hope the NBA, MLB, NFL, NHL really takes a hard look at how they're marketing gambling with their sport, because you can't be a hypocrite. And a lot of these organizations and a lot of these guys you're getting hit with, the NFL is cracking down on guys gambling, but yet you can turn around and market players for fantasy football and gambling and everything else. So, I mean, there's a fine line. I know, with baseball and Pete Rose, and they're let Pete Rose in with the gambling. And so this has always been a part of sport for 100 years, ever since sport has been around. Heck, they were probably betting on the first Olympic Games back in Greece 2,000, 3,000 years ago, whatever it was. I wouldn't be surprised if there was bets going on. So betting and sports go hand in hand. It's just when it starts to really mix together like that, when players get involved, that is a dicey situation. So thank you guys for joining me in the layup line. And again, thank you guys for joining me here in this off season on 3 from Deep. Again, I'll be down to 1 show a week, so please check me out on Mondays at 12 p.m. here on the Boom Broadcasting Network. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe. Hit me with any comments, questions, concerns you have. If you guys have any ideas for some off-season stuff that you want to hear about, let me know. I'd be glad to talk about it. I plan on kind of getting into teams and divisions and conferences. I'm going to kind of start going through some of that here, and we'll talk about what teams are improving, what teams are sliding back, and we'll really start doing deep dives into this next off season, and we'll see. This off season has already been hot and fast and furious with the trades and the signings. We still got a long way to go. July 1st is coming up here. That's when everything can kind of officially get signed and officially get done. So let's see what this next NBA season will bring us. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. And I will check you out next Monday. Again, hit me up if you got any questions, comments, concerns, and I will see you later. Peace.